Alright everybody, here's the first one. We are looking at lesson 7-1. We're going to use transformations to determine congruence. Remember everybody, congruent means equal. So the two shapes you're looking at have to be exactly equal to be congruent. So when I ask you a question like, hey, are these two congruent? You have to look and make sure they're exactly the same. The key to this lesson is telling me what transformations you're using to show that the two shapes you're looking at are congruent. So here's your example. We're going to determine if the two figures are congruent by using transformations, and we're going to explain what we're doing. So I think it's pretty obvious in number one that if I take that diamond and I slide it over right here, that those two diamonds would be exactly the same shape. So since those two diamonds are exactly the same shape and they're exactly the same size and everything is perfect about them, then those two are definitely congruent. And what you would say, how you would answer this problem is you'd say, okay, yes, they're congruent. And how do you know? I used a translation to see that. Okay. Now, obviously, I'm writing on my iPad, and it looks very terrible, but you want to make sure that you write it out so that it makes a lot of sense. Okay, it makes a lot of sense to you. Okay? So we go through here and get rid of that one. We'll go look at number two. Number two, you need to be able to see how you get from one shape to the other. So if we take a look at UST here, this triangle, what can we do to triangle UST? What can we do to triangle UST to get it to be exactly like triangle YWX? Well, I think everybody can see here that this is a rotation. If we rotate this blue triangle, if we turn it this way, everybody would match up, and we'd end up with exactly congruent shapes. Alright, so the key here is, the key again is looking to see what transformation can make the other shape, if it works. Now, so far, of course, I'm only showing you the things that do work, and of course, that makes it pretty easy when I only show you the ones that do work. So let's take a look at ones that don't work. Okay, so as we come down here to number 3, what do you think about that? I'm hoping that you see that you're looking at two exactly congruent shapes if we reflect them over this dotted line. U would match up with T, U and T would match up, the V would stay the same place, and W and X would match up. If we come over here and look at number 4, another problem, two trapezoids. Hopefully everybody at this point is seeing that, hey, this needs a rotation. So we're going to turn this down. The difference here is you can see A to B and Q to P. Those aren't the same length. Those aren't the same length. I think that's very obvious. So these two are not congruent. And you would say that they're not congruent because they're not the same length. Okay. Go away, arrows. Go away. Alright. So hopefully we're getting the hang of this here. 5. Again, looking at the two shapes, if you slide all these over, you slide H to S, C to N, D to O, G to R, they don't all match up because these two aren't the same size. And all the things that I'm saying out loud and I'm not writing, these are what you need to write in your answers. You want to make sure that you tell me that C to H is not the same size as N to S. The distance between D and G is not the same as the distance between O and R. So these are not congruent. We're determining the congruence of these shapes because it's actually going to make a big difference in what we can do with two shapes later on. If we know they're congruent, it gives us some extra things we can do. If we don't know they're congruent, well, then we can't do the things we want to do with them. Okay? 6 is the last one on this page. I think everybody sees, hopefully, this dashed line here. That'll be a flip over that dashed line. These are the same exact length. So are these. So R and M go together, S and N go together, O and T go together, and Q and L go together. Those are congruent. You want to say congruent by a transformation over a horizontal line. That's how you say your answer to make it sound like an 8th grade answer like I always talk about. Alright, so that's lesson 7-1 in a nutshell. That's all it is. There's nothing more to it than that. Take your time, make sure you do the work properly, and again, you show your details so we all know that you know what you know.